In previous episode, we saw Dokja dives into the SP world to save Heewon, who's been overtaken by Nirvana's mind control, unleashing hell flames. Hong struggles between fighting or saving her, refusing to kill his ally. With Dokja's guidance and the Master of Steel's approval, Hong activates the steel transformation, enduring extreme fire to complete the proof of steel and save Heewon through sheer willpower. Afterward, Heewon warns them that S is in danger. Meanwhile, Dokja awakens in the real world, confused by resurrection messages and shaken by how events are diverging from previous timelines. They regroup, face monster attacks, and learn a new scenario has begun. Survive escalating monster waves, with the only way out being the death of either half of the dome's incarnations or the strongest one among them, whose identity remains a mystery. And he is sure whoever is the strongest knows who they are. He says good and asks them to search happily. The people wonder about the most muscular man among them, so the Yoo gives them a hint. He gives them a hint that the 10th strongest incarnation in Seoul Dome is currently Naval Commander Ji-hai. She doesn't seem happy to hear that she is the 10th strongest, and Yoo disappears, wishing them good luck. Yoo Joonghyuk also seems worried and thinks everything has gone wrong because it's finally come to the point where a scenario he doesn't know about has appeared. He can't think of a way to correct this and thinks of regressing again and starting a new life. Dokja is disappointed at thinking of his thoughts and feels that if he does this, then what will happen to him? After some time, they have killed the first wave of the beasts, and the second wave will appear after 4 hours. It was just the first wave, but it ended up killing 1/10 of the population there. Blood and corpses of beasts and people are everywhere. Yoo is still trying to process the situation. Now there are 9,531 incarnations left. Dokja comes to Yoo and asks him to talk for a moment. He again activates his personal skills to check his character profile, but he can't find his supporting constellation. He knows the reason and thinks that even TWSA never revealed who Yoo's supporting constellation was until the end. He hoped it would be shown in the epilogue, but unfortunately, he didn't get to read TWSA's epilogue. He knows about his constellation, that he is more immune to the rules of probability than any other constellation he knows and has the power to spin the wheel of time to trick the different constellations. He has a constellation that never gave him any other stigma than regression until TWSA ended. Yoo Joonghyuk asks him if there is a way to kill Nirvana, but he asks him to take a little break first, saying this place has a great view. Yoo asks him if he is playing any tricks with him, but Dokja replies he is just enjoying the view. He says it's all bound to perish someday, and he tells him that he still has to protect something. He thinks Yoo's goal is to stop the end of the world, and he could always give up on his world to achieve his goal. Dokja says he thinks regress means that death is meaningless to him, but Yoo says he doesn't know anything about life and death. However, he is shocked when Dokja asks him not to fool himself into thinking that things will improve if he keeps repeating everything. He says he can do better than now when he reaches his 4th round and asks him to remember the theater dungeon. If he hadn't shown up then, he would have regressed again. Yoo interrupts him and says that with repeated regression, things do get better. There were many unexpected incidents this round, but the next round is sure to go much better. Dokja asks him if he has become more privy to what is to come in the future. He thinks this is a pathetic belief that things would get better with each regression, and the impulse to give up when something goes wrong, no matter how small it is, are the symptoms of regressor depression. Dokja understands his thinking and says things could improve if he regresses 10 or even 20 times. He will experience more scenarios and know more about the future. But the real problem is that when he has finally managed to save the world, he asks him if he can say that he saved the world. He asks him if he can say that when he has regressed hundreds of times. Yoo suddenly realizes something and starts staring at Dokja. He asks him if he still has nightmares. He tells him that salvation won't come to him even if he manages to save the world, because the worlds he abandoned will return to him the moment he saves this world. In this chapter, he instructs him to do his best and says, Yesing was broken because she had to wander those countless years, and a worse fate awaits him. Yoo Joonghyuk is just staring at him shockingly, and Dokja asks him to ask himself how much he has changed from when he first started. He again adds that abandoning this round won't make the next round any better, and it might be the case that this world he is about to leave could be the only one where he can live to see it end as a human being. He is notified that Yoo's mental state has recovered a little. Suddenly, they hear some noises from behind, and they see Ji and Pildo fighting each other when they turn behind. She is curious about what they are discussing and asks why he is the only one to hear them. He forbids her from stepping in on the conversation among men. They have caught them, and the constellation demonic judge of fire's eyes are flashing. Yoo Joonghyuk tells them they are coming up with a plan for this scenario. He explains that the most powerful incarnation must die in order for this scenario to end, and Dokja wonders why he is looking at him as he is saying that. Ji says they were also talking about that as well and asks them who the strongest incarnation is. Yoon replies it's him, and Dokja thinks someone as proud as him would never consider to believe that he is the strongest. Suddenly, he remembers something. If the scenario ends when the strongest incarnation dies and he believes he is the strongest here, he will kill himself. Yoo Joonghyuk says the scenario can be stopped if he dies there, and Dokja thinks his regressor depression is actually starting to look kind of cool. He asks him how he can be so sure that he is the strongest and says he is also among the strongest. Ji-hee laughs at him and asks if he is serious when he calls himself the strongest. He then says Nirvana can be stronger than you, and they had trouble fighting them earlier. Yoo tells Ji-hee that they look like opposites, and she is surprised to hear that someone is actually stronger than her master. Gwon asks them what they think they base this ranking on, and says they may mean someone who would actually win in a fight. Ji says they have some way of rating an incarnation's overall combat power, but that could change once a fight occurs between parties. She recalls the Tao from earlier, saying that whoever was the strongest would know themselves. They ask each other if Yoo did anything unusual happen, or if maybe a Bakabi told him something. Dokja says they don't know anything for certain, and no one there wants Yoo to die. It would be wise for them to assume that Nirvana is the strongest there and join forces to fight them. Gwon asks him what they will do if it is revealed that Yoo is the strongest, and he replies that they will worry about that later. After some time, they locate the Church of the Savior in Gangbuk, but the security is tight there, so they won't be able to sneak in, and they have way more men than them. Dokja says they won't go to them, but they will be the ones coming to them. Giwon asks him how this will happen and if they will even fall for it, and he says there is no way they would do something that doesn't benefit them. Dokja thinks it will be the most logical thing to do, but Nirvana cannot be understood with logic. 4 hours have passed and the monsters are coming from outside of Seoul, so there must be a gate in that area. The monsters will get stronger at a 4-hour interval, so the time they have left is 8 hours at most, and he has to make Nirvana and H fight each other. He has purchased 10 main scenario number 8 special loot boxes and new scenarios special loot boxes. It's a loot box with a criminal low drop rate that contains SSS grade weapons and skills. This is the item that the Yoo have created to cheat the foolish constellations out of their money. Gil-young asks him if it is just like the thing he finds in games, and they get a random item when they open it. He then calls everyone to gather around and gives them one to lighten the mood. Surprisingly, Ji-won asks him if he will just provide them for free. He says they can keep the main items from the boxes and give him the minor items like the consumables they get. Leong asks what will he do if he gets an SSS grade item. Pildo says the chance of that is almost 0. Yoo picks an item and says if he is thinking of fighting Nirvana with an item he gets from this, he calls his idea pathetic. Dokja thinks he still takes a box. Yusung comes to him with a sad face, and Dokja gives her 2 boxes since he is his incarnation. He believes this is the first present that Yeshung has ever received and thinks he should have treated her better. He then asks everyone to open the box and think of it as taking a breather. He was notified that he had used the special main scenario number 8 loot box. Yoo and Ciala have obtained Ella Forest Essence, Ji-hee obtained useful boots, and others also received some minor objects. Dokja knew that they would all get E-grade items and consumables. Soon everyone was shocked to see that Yusong had breached the 0 and 1% drop rate, and she had obtained an SSS grade item, Ancient Beast Fruit. They are shocked to see this. Yoo says she has hit the jackpot, and Dokja thinks it's the rarest of items to drop with a less than 1% chance. He is still shocked that she got this item, which is the best item Yun could hope for since she can use it. If they feed this fruit to a beast that can't be tamed, they won't have any trouble taming it. If she could use it on a beast that can evolve beyond Tier 1, the Yusong of this round could grow even stronger than the Yusong of the 41st round. She asks him if she can only use this on beasts, and he surprisingly asks why she is asking such a question. Ji-hee asks him why he gave out all those boxes, and he asks them to give him all the consumables they got when opening those boxes. He has obtained 4 megaphones, dome channels, and 4 general channels. You may now know what he is about to do, but there is no way they would show themselves just because they taunt them. Dokja says it will depend on what they say to them. On the other hand, Nirvana is in the temple meditating, and it is said that his stigma and succession consume a large amount of probability. They can only use succession if they give their fables as a tribute to the constellations in return for their probability. Through his meditation, he has obtained a new skill, and after this, he realizes that he overworked himself and has given away too many fables. It's not that he doesn't miss the people that he has lost, but he can't cling himself to the past. The past is already gone, and the future is yet to come. He then turns toward a room where he has Sangha with another girl. He asks the girl if they should get started. He has used his technique on S, and he skillfully controls her. The girl asks him when he will release the skill he used on the CD, and he replies that it's not up to him to release it, and that she has to do it herself. He calls her foolish and says all she has to do is declare that she will live in the present, but she has resisted it with all her might. The girl says the value of the past differs for them since they live such short lives. Nirvana says it is exactly because they live such short lives that they must learn the importance of the present. The girl asks him not to judge her. Her present, she already has enough. She says to him that he is actually the one who is oblivious to the present since he has reincarnated countless times. They both stare at each other, and Nirvana asks her not to forget that he only lets her live until her stories have lost value. Moreover, he needs information from Hui, and she asks him what he wants to know. She asks him about the incarnation of Yoo Dokja, and she replies that she doesn't know him. Nirvana says there is no use in feigning ignorance, and he already knows he is her son. The neutral told him already, and she replied that they had lived apart since he was young. She has no idea what kind of life he has lived until now, and Nirvana uses his skill and says they will go through his life. He keeps his hand on her head and asks her to open up her memory. Otherwise, he will kill Sangha. He exclaims that she has been giving in to such cliché threats all this time, and this is how they humans are. The woman agrees to listen to him and asks him to do whatever he wants. He then uses his personal skill, activates being and causation level 6, and sees through her memories. He sees through Dokja and wonders how a mere human may have access to restricted information of the future and thinks this must be Dokja's true nature. He calls her a pitiful mother and says she lied to her CD, and she dogmatically leads her son onto a path full of lies. The woman says he doesn't stand a chance against her son, and Nirvana says he will give her that. He is an exciting incarnation. Nirvana says he was just someone who could force him to use succession, but he is only a human. On the other hand, Dokja uses speakers and tests them out. They are trying to connect with the church where Nirvana stays, and Dokja says he is requesting a duel with the church leader of the Savior. He tells him the time and location, 2 in the evening at Gwangan. He joyfully tells him that his opponent will be the Supreme King, Yoo, and they are 2 people who are most likely to be the strongest there and will fight to save Seoul's dome from certain doom. He also asks him not to return from this duel if he truly lives in the present. Nirvana thinks he is using the present as an excuse. Using the megaphone so everyone could hear, he must have wanted to set up a duel that he couldn't afford to refuse. The leader of the Salvation Church's mother smiled, saying he was strong and wise, and also knew what he needed and what he was good at. Meanwhile, Dokja announced again that accepting this duel wasn't part of his master plan, but if Nirvana showed up now, he would give him the chance to become one with the Yoo. Nirvana was shocked that Dokja knew about his master plan, and his mother taunted him, saying he didn't stand a chance against her son. At the same time, G1 and G-High were shocked because they hadn't expected him to accept the duel so easily. Dokja felt a headache because of the announcement. Nirvana left as soon as he got the reply. Suddenly, the Yoo rushed toward Dokja and punched him forcefully in the face. Dokja thought he was as strong as he was stupid. After some time, Dokja took a potion and asked everyone to leave. Gilyung commented that it looked like they could all fight together this time. Dokja thought Nirvana must have acquired a new skill through succession and wouldn't be as easy to beat as before. Yoo also prepared accordingly, so there was no telling who would win. However, the real problem wasn't the fight, it was the message going off in his head. Dokja was notified that he was the strongest incarnation in Seoul, and he wondered what he should do now. They headed toward Gwangan, and on their way they met up with Heewon and Hongyong. She had also heard his declaration, which had made quite an impact. He asked them about their health, and she replied that she was fine, though Hang was a little injured. Dokja thought Hosang had begun taking his first steps toward succeeding the Master of Steel's story. He could tell Hosang had grown much more vital and wasn't bluffing. He was probably one of the top 5 strongest incarnations in Seoul. Dokja thought about how power in the star stream wasn't about raw strength or skill proficiency. It came from the story behind it. He remembered reading something along those lines in episode 51 of TWSA. He was ranked as the strongest incarnation because the stories he had obtained in this round were all near impossible. Huynh warned them that Tier 5 monsters would attack soon and asked if the other incarnations would be okay. Dokja said they would be fine as long as they were there. Everyone was excited to defeat the leader of the Salvation Church, thinking they needed to kill him to complete the scenario. Hong asked Dokja if he had already known this would happen. He replied that he would be lying if he said he didn't expect it. Even with many new incarnations who had recently joined, and even though the Salvation Church was causing chaos, most incarnations in Seoul had been there since the beginning. All they needed was a little momentum to bring down the Salvation Church. Pildo said Korea was done for now, and the people responsible for returning his land must be dead. Jie asked him if that was all he cared about, given everything going on. Pildo then asked Dokja if he wouldn't save Sangha, since he had heard she was being held captive by the leader of the Salvation Church. Dokja replied that they would get to it, but not right now. He was confident that even Nirvana wouldn't dare lay a finger on someone affiliated with the Olympus Nebula unless he wanted to start a war between nebulae. Suddenly, the attribute windows appeared before everyone, revealing the second hint. The ninth most potent incarnation in Seoul was currently Insect Boy Gil-young. He seemed happy to hear he ranked ninth, while Ji was shocked that a little boy was stronger than her. Dokja asked everyone to stop chatting and get ready for battle. The fact that the second hint was revealed meant the second wave of monsters would be arriving soon. He told them they needed to finish this within 4 hours. If they took any longer, Tier 4 monsters would begin appearing. He asked Hong and Pildo to stay back and form a defensive line with the other incarnations. Pildo said he would claim ownership of Gwanghwamun once the scenario ended. Dokja asked everyone to follow him. Soon they reached a dome built by the Salvation Church, where a man appeared and called the other incarnations their enemies. And the man asked why they should take up arms and fight among themselves. Guan recognizes him and tells Dokja that he is the neutral king, guessing he must be using a voice amplification skill. The neutral king exclaims that he understands why they had come all the way there, but whether they are with the Salvation Church or any other group, they are all still helpless humans. A man shouts that it was the Salvation Church who started the fight, but the neutral king warns that the monsters will soon attack. If they fight among themselves now, Seoul will be doomed. He also suggests sacrificing the most powerful incarnation among them. He announces that they will now bring out the 2 heroes who have willingly risked their lives for the Seoul Dome. They are the most likely candidates for the 2 most powerful incarnations, Nirvana and Yoo. Dokja and the others are shocked to see that Nirvana and Yoo have already started fighting. Dokja tries to intervene but realizes the character Ilohan has activated the stigma, fair duel, meaning no other incarnations are allowed to interfere. Dokja hadn't expected Ilohan to have used Gwanghwamun's stigma. He notices that everyone is staring at the fight and they seem satisfied. After all, if either the Supreme King or the leader of the Salvation Church dies, it's a win for them. Dokja thinks that their feelings are obvious. Humans are cowards. Nirvana knows exactly when humans reach the peak of their cowardice, when they hope for a future that never comes. Dokja orders Jihye and Heewon to kill Ilohan. Meanwhile, Dokkabi appears, sensing that something interesting is happening. He says he has prepared something special since the fight greatly interests everyone. In the meantime, Nirvana and Yoo are ready to attack each other. Jihye and Heewon surround the neutral king, prepared to attack him, while Pildo and Hunong try to stop the monsters from breaking in. Yoo stands with Gil-young and Yoo-sung.